Hello, Ninth Age community. This is Jobadiah Christensen, otherwise known as Roman's Revenge or Roman Ragnarok. Welcome to my channel. Today I brought you a Ninth Age battle report. Ninth Age is a fantasy tabletop miniatures game, but all of last year and most of this year I've been playing on Universal Battle Simulator, but don't fret, I do have some live battles coming up with real miniatures. That's right. I've been painting for the last couple weeks trying to get my army ready because I haven't painted that much last year. Because I was playing Ninth Age on UB. So there we have it. All right. This is a battle report I played on May 7, 2021 against Gil with the Saurian Ancients. I had played him before last December, actually right at Christmas time. He also was using Saurian Ancients at that time, although both of us have changed our lists. Welcome to my channel. For those who haven't been here before, I'm just going to talk about this battle I played. This battle is for the Clashing Roundabouts 13 UB tournament that is on the forums. Check it out. This is game 2 of it. Alright, this is my list. You can take a look at it if you want to. Not going to talk about it. Moving on. Sorry, Ancients. This is Gil's list. He's got, of course, the Quadi Lord as the general with a bunch of things that give him a bunch of spells. I tried to look into the book to explain it to you, and actually it didn't make sense to me. So take a look in the book. He does have a Saurian warlord on a raptor as a cowboy. Very dangerous. Skink Priest on Shamanism. Oh, that's how he got the second Shamanism spell. Got it. That makes sense. Um, Saurian, big block of Saurian warriors. 16 Skink Braves with the Cayman. Big unit Temple Guard and 3 Stygian Swords. I'd never played against Stygian Swords before. They're interesting creatures. Looking at his list and my list, the things I was worried about going into it were the Stygiosaurs, although I have cannons and things that can take them out, so that wasn't too terrifying. But I was worried about the Saurian warriors with spears and the Temple Guard because I was not sure if my Imperial Guard could handle them. Secondary objective was hold the ground, and we did counter thrust on map A8. So these are the spells that we had. Um, Gil actually had more spells. The bottom spells are his, but I tried to pull out the main ones that he had. For me, I have Ice and Fire as a bounce spell on my Arcane Engine, and then I took Fireball as my Hereditary. Then I had Word of Iron, Glory Gold, Silver Spike, and Molten Copper. I probably should have actually chosen Quicksilver Lash. I didn't look at the right rules for the Stygiosaur, so that's why I chose Molten Copper instead of Quicksilver Lash. I was looking at the wrong monster entry in the Saurian Ancient book. Mistake number 1. Make sure you're looking at the right opponent entries. Okay. Basically, the Quadi Lord has the number 1 spell of a lot of different lores. And then he also had that Shaman Adept who had Awakened the Beast. And, oh, he had the number 2 spell, Swarm of Insects. There you go. Alrighty. This is the map, and this is what it was after deployment. I guess I didn't take screenshots during deployment. We dropped one at a time. Let's see, I won the rule for sides, and I chose the top, which he asked me after the game why I chose the top, and I told him it was because it had this impassable, and I've learned in press games that if you have the opportunity to pick the side that has more impassables and things to hide behind to deny those advantages from your opponent, because I knew he would want to hide his Stygiosaurs behind things like this impassable. Well, after I chose the side and I started to deploy, I realized with this map, my whole goal was I wanted to be able to place my cannons in such a way that if you put anything behind this hill on his side, I would still be able to shoot it. But with this hill on the left, it blocks, and I can't actually zone stuff behind this hill on the right. So I'm not actually sure that choosing the top was the best in this situation. I maybe should have just chosen the bottom, but I don't know. Let me know. That's something it's hard to figure out with angles, right? If you just look at the board and you don't measure the angles at all and you just start deploying, how do you know? So there you have that. Let's get a laser pointer. Okay. Um, I what did I put down first? We alternated a little bit. He put his Saurian warriors and Temple Guard in the middle because it's hold the center. So I put one Imperial Guard unit down here, and then I put my crossbowmen in here because I realized I could shoot anything that was approaching the middle. So that's why my crossbowmen are in the top left corner. And that way I was creating crossfires with my cannons. But as you can see, my army's pretty spread out, and they're not supporting each other, and Empire needs to support each other. Okay, so he went first. We alternated, and then he just dropped his last couple units so he could go first. So he just pushes forward. He's hiding all of his Stygisaurs behind this hill, so I can't shoot him, I can't charge him, I can't do anything. They're just hidden here, except my cannon on my right can actually see them, so that's still good. He's hiding his Cayman behind the hill here, and that's about it. That's about it. Magic, I let him get healing waters off on his Saurians because, well, I probably should have stopped that, but it was that or they would have been Resilience 5, right? So do you let someone have a 4-up Fortitude, or you let them have Resilience 5? I don't know. That's a tough choice. Okay. My turn. I decided to be a little aggressive. I thought it was kind of rash of him to just put his Saurians out like this. Or, no, excuse me, his Skink unit. So I charged this Skink unit with my Spear Block because he had no way to countercharge me. So I'm like, I'm not going to lose anything by charging forward. So I charged to his Skink Block. Besides that, I maneuvered my Arcane Engine a little bit so that I could start to magic his Stygiosaurs. And then I moved my Imperial Guard. I just shuffled them a little bit over to the right in front of my crossbows, just so that if his Stygisaurs wanted to come over the hill, I could still have a threat range. But they're actually movement 14, so I'm not sure they actually were stopping him. I think I got an Ice and Fire off, and I did 1 wound to a Stygisaur. And that was it for magic. Where's my shooting? Shooting. I must have missed. I didn't really do that much because he's got the 4 Fortitude on these Saurians. His Temple God are in the woods, so they have cover. I mean, the alternative was letting him have the top, and then he would have had the hard cover from the from the wall, which is even worse. Uh, it's not a very good map for shooting, in my opinion. Okay. Um, Combat, I routed the Skinks, but I did not pursue because I wanted to be in the position to threaten his Temple Guard's flank. So I let them get away. There were 3 Skinks that survived that onslaught. Alright, he pulled a Stygisaur back behind this wall to threaten the middle. Put his Saurian warriors here to threaten the middle because now I only have 1 unit. Well, I have 2 units, but his 2 units are better than my 2 units. And then he puts his Cayman unit up on the hill to threaten the flank of my Spear Block. Magic wise, he didn't have a very good round. It looks like he didn't get anything. Okay, he got off the resilience. I let him have buff spells on his Temple Guard because I wasn't really going to charge into them anyway. So he maneuvered his Temple Guard so that my spears were no longer in his flank. And then I let him have buff spells because I wasn't going to charge his Temple Guard. To me, that's suicide. And that's it. So on my turn, I charged my Imperial Guard into his Saurian warriors here. And I charged my Arcane Engine into the flank because I wanted to make sure that I killed them. As Bobo says, make sure you just charge with overwhelming force. You don't want your enemy to survive. Alright. Magic I got off. He stopped, I think he stopped Word of Iron. Yep. I cast Glory of Gold onto this Imperial Guard unit so that I could get reroll to wound on the Saurians. One of the issues with this army is I took I took too many magic missiles, so with my arcane engine in combat, I didn't have enough buff spells. I only had 2 buff spells. So I basically was 5 dicing buff spells. So I should have taken like Know Than Enemy or Altered Sight. Were the other augment spells I should have taken. So there's that. But I fight an extra rank on my Imperial Guard. Um, Now he actually, let's see, and then shooting my cannon hit this cannon in the corner hit and did a bunch of wounds to this Stygisaur. He's got 1 wound left. And then I made a decision. My other cannon here on the right, instead of finishing off this Stygisaur, because I only had 1 wound left, I shot at this Stygisaur, and I put 4 wounds on it. So now he's got 2 Stygisaurs, both with 4 wounds, but they're both still alive. In hindsight, as we'll see how the battle plays out, I should have just shot my cannon on the right at this Stygisaur behind the wall and taken it out. But I didn't. So, my logic at this point in the game was when I've played against people with monsters before, as soon as they get down to only having 1 or 2 wounds left, my experience has been that most players will take their monsters and hide them and not commit them to combat because they don't want to lose that monster points wise. But that's not really what Gil did. So we'll see. All right. In this combat, so I did impact hits. I killed a couple, and then he actually killed a bunch of my Imperial Guard because he's got spears. So he's got decent agility, and he's strength 4, and he's got 2 attacks each. He has a lot of attacks. So we killed a bunch of mine. As you can see, I only have a few left. But I was able to kill enough of him back with the Imperial Guard I have left that he broke and ran. And I decided to pursue with both because I wanted to make sure that unit was obliterated. But because I pursued with both, now you can see I've now given flanks to the Stygisaur that it was kept alive. So that's why, like, this is a completely different game at this point. If my cannon on the right, instead of firing at this Stygisaur behind the hill, I could have just shot at this one behind the wall. I would have killed it because I hit and did 4 wounds to this one. I would have hit and done 4 wounds and killed this one. And then my flank here, I would have been totally open to keep pressuring the temple guard. He would have had to turn these ones. But instead, he's still got 2 Stygisaurs alive, and he can now charge my flank. So that was a mistake. And then my crossbows on the previous turn, they shut up this Cayman unit. I put 2 wounds on that Cayman and killed a bunch of skinks. So now in his turn, it's pretty obvious. He charges his Stygisaur into my Arcane Engine. He turns his Temple Guard to face me. Oh, well, he charges his Raptor Lord into my spears. And then he moves his Cayman unit onto my flank so that he can try to outflank me. And that is that. Magic wise, he puts a bunch of buffs on his Temple Guard, and I let him have it because I'd rather he have buffs on his Temple Guard than on his Warlord, or I don't want him to heal his monsters. So there you have that. Combat wise, he issues a challenge, and I let him kill my champion, and then I win. No, I don't win combat, but I hold because I didn't have ranks. I was 8 wide, so I didn't actually have any rank bonus. So then I reform and um, go into ranks so that I can start to have a rank bonus against him. Over here, um, Stygisaur wasn't able to win my Arcane Engine, and it held for that turn, which was good. Right? Yeah. So on my turn, I decide I am going to reform my Imperial Guard because I expect him to charge with his Temple Guard. I pull my General out because I need to have discipline for my Spear block because I realize that his Raptor Lord's going to kill my BSB because my BSB only has plate armor. He literally doesn't have a save against his Saurian Warlord because he's got like AP 5 or something. So he's just going to kill my BSB, and then I'm only going to be Discipline 7. So I move my General out to provide Discipline 9 range so that this unit hopefully will hold. Plus, I can issue orders from my general. So now my general's out here in no man's land, but he doesn't really have spells that can target him, so I'm not too worried. He doesn't really have shooting at this point. I then push my Imperial Guard up on the hill to threaten him because I feel, and this was, I'm not sure if this was a mistake or not. Like, I could have just stayed back the whole game and prevented him from getting around me, which is probably what I should have done. But I also wanted to threaten the middle because I know that this Imperial Guard unit in the middle is going to die. So there you have it. I was able to put Word of Iron on my Arcane Engine, so it actually has a 1-up, 4-up for armor save, which is great. I then, this crossbow unit does marvelous things and shoots up the skink unit so they flee. I killed the Cayman, I killed a bunch of skinks, and now they're fleeing. My cannon, however, rolled a misfire and it got a wound, so I didn't hit anything, obviously, with a misfire. My other cannon, I was stupid. I tried to shoot these 3 skinks on the hill, and I rolled a misfire, and I rolled a 1. So they, oh no, I rolled a 4, so it's jammed for a turn. You can see my misfires here, right? This was the first cannon, I rolled a 1, then I rolled a 6, took a wound. I then rolled a misfire. I rolled a 1. I re-rolled it with my artificer because he's an engineer, and I got a 4. So he's jammed. So now, because I was trying to shoot 3 skinks, this cannon is jammed. So on this turn, I pushed my Imperial Guard forwards. Now there's nothing. Now that my cannon is jammed, there's nothing that's stopping his Sigisaur from coming around me. If I'd kept my Imperial Guard back, even though my cannon is jammed, he still can't really bring his Sigisaurs forward because my Imperial Guard would have been there. But now that my Imperial Guard moved up, it was just 2 bad things right in a row. I should have just kept my Imperial Guard back. Actually, no. I should have not shot my cannon. That was stupid. So we'll move along. That's why, well, I'll talk about it later. Combat wise, my Arcane Engine's alive, but when I roll the panic, I failed my discipline test. So it fled. He caught me. He overruns into the flank of my Imperial Guard. And now there's not a whole lot I can do. So, of course, on his turn, he charges his Temple Guard into these Imperial Guard. Although, honestly, with the Stygisaur on my flank, he didn't really need to. Must have been the previous turn. Yeah, his Raptor killed my BSB. I can't do a thing to his Raptor Lord. He has a 1-up armor save. He's a 1-up, but he has a 1-up, 4-up. These skinks just keep fleeing off the hill. And then he pushes his Stygisaurs up around. And now I can't shoot him with my cannon. This one's out of the arc of my crossbows. So, yeah. Now you can see the full mistake of moving my Imperial Guard forwards. um, Combat-wise, I let him get Know Thine Enemy off on the Temple Guard because I know I'm just going to lose anyway. So he wipes out the Temple Guard. On my turn, I charge my general into his Raptor Lord because I have a 3-up, 4-up against magical attacks, and I have distracting. So I thought maybe if he's in combat with my general, I have a charge on a flank. Hopefully I can not give up wounds because with those defenses, and then I'll have rank bonuses and I can actually win the combat and maybe break him. In my mind, that was the only way, the only chance I had of beating him, because I've had this experience in the past. If I don't charge anything into this flank, his Raptor Lord is just going to keep chewing through my spears and eventually beat them because I'm going to run out of models. So there you have it. There's nothing I can do against his character except for charging another character in. I moved my Inquisitor out and put it in front of this Stygisaur so that the Stygisaur could not charge my light infantry. Shooting. Then I tried to. I only put 2 wounds from this whole unit on the Stygisaur. I was hoping to kill it, and I didn't. It still has 3 wounds left. I think he's hidden. Yeah, he's hidden. We agreed. He's hidden behind the building, so this cannon couldn't shoot him either. I should have had my cannon further forward. Um, and my general took 2 wounds. I think I still won combat, but he took 2 wounds from the Raptor Lord, even though I had distracting and a 3-up, 4-up. Well, I guess the 3-up armor save pretty much went away from the. So I really just had a 4-up Aegis save, and I had parry. Yeah, parry and distracting. Yeah, I don't know. Then on his turn, he charges the Stygiusaur into the cannon. He moves the other Stygiusaur behind the hill. Um, and he charges his Temple Guard into my Martial General. So at this point, magic doesn't even really matter. He kills my General. He's healing wounds on these Stygiusaurs. He still has all 3 Stygiusaurs alive. Kills my General. Um, kills my cannon. That's about it there. And then I turn my crossbowman around with hopes to kill. I mean, he only has 1 wound. I thought if I did a reform, swift reform, I could shoot and hopefully get that wound off of him, even though I'm hitting on 6s or 5s and 6s. I was hoping my other cannon could take off this Stygiusaur behind the hill. And actually, at this point, um, we miscounted. We both thought there was another turn, and then we were going through. Um, we thought there were like 2 more turns, and there weren't. So he charges this Stygiusaur into the rear of my Imperial Guard. His Stygiusaur survived my shooting and charges into my light infantry and took them out. My Inquisitive was more than 6 inches away, plus it's fearless, so it didn't care. Wait. Oh, this was a mistake. I'm sorry. We were adding it up and we realized this was the last turn. So he didn't charge his Stygiusaur and he just hit it behind the hill, so I couldn't shoot it with a cannon. My spears broke and fled, and the raptor pursued, but he didn't catch me. Then on my turn, my spears failed to rally. They kept running, but they stopped just barely 1 inch short. And now it's my last turn. I can't really do anything, and that was the game. So I miscounted. I would have done stuff different on turn 5. When it was turn 5, I thought it was turn 4, and I'd have 2 more turns after, and I didn't. So that's why some of the moves at the end were kind of weird. We both thought we had more turns, and we didn't. And part of that's because we played 4 turns on Friday, and we played 2 turns on Saturday. We had to save it and come back. So that's what it is. So I didn't. We can see he got 3150 points from me. I got 1677 points from him, which is a 14-6 win for him. And of course, with his Temple Guard in the middle, basically the whole game, he won the objective, and it ended up being a 17-3. So it was a good game. I enjoyed playing Gil. Very nice player. As you can see, I made several mistakes all the way from deployment. Um, Having played this map, I'm not convinced that the top is the better map for the Shooty army. If it is, I probably actually. I think I can draw. Pen. Alright. I think I should have just deployed like this, because then I can still pressure the middle. And he would only have this to hide behind, right? Unless he wants to come all the way up here. But because I put troops in the left corner, he actually had this hill to hide behind too. This hill and this impassable doesn't do him any good if all my troops are here. So, yeah. Anyway, this was the first time I think I'd played this map. Those are my thoughts. I'm sorry, I forgot to prepare a slide of lessons learned like I did last time. One of my big lesson that I learned was with the cannon. The cannon is what I'm now calling a high risk, high reward. It's worth it to shoot the cannon if because you have when you're rolling a hit, you have a 1 in 6 chance of misfiring. And then on the misfire roll, you have a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to be destroyed, and you have a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to be jammed for a turn. And both those are really bad. So that's high risk. The high reward comes from the fact that you can literally kill like a character on a griffin in one turn. Like if it has wings, I can do 5 wounds to a character in a turn. I can like kill an 800-point character in one turn. That's high risk, high reward. Shooting 3 skinks is low reward. It was unlikely that they were going to rally, and even if they did, they were not going to have an impact on the game. So it was literally high risk, zero reward to shoot those skinks. Well, not zero reward. The reward was that I kill them and I get the full points from that unit instead of half points, which was the goal. I was chasing points, and at that point in the game, I didn't need to chase points. I needed that cannon to be alive to shoot Stygiosaurs. So that was my big takeaway. Um, that and I know other Empire players have pointed it out to me, and I didn't heed them because I wanted to create a crossfire. But when you have Empire, don't deploy units in 3 different places. Make sure that they're deployed together in a box so that they're all supporting each other. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks for watching this. Hope you learned something. Don't make the mistakes I do. And always, as always, beat a player somebody wants to play again. Take care.